Hey guys, this will be our second session for the BOV training. In this session, I will focus on the income approach. So in the example, I will give some illustration how we value a vacant land using the land development approach. In the training agenda, I put it on the three main points. First is concept and basic principle of valuation. We already learned that in our previous training session. Second is the valuation process, data collection, site visit, and analysis. For the valuation process is the process when we value a vacant land, for the example. And the third one is the BOV report. I will give more detail about this in my next training session. The valuation process, I put it on three steps. The first one is data collection. Is the process when we gathering all the information required before we doing site visit. So we ask the property owner the data about the legality of the land, etc. before we doing the site visit. Second is the site visit. If we're not able to do the inspection by ourselves, we can do it by virtual. So for example, we using Google Street View. So the objective is we collecting information through visual observation during the walkthrough survey. So we can understand the environmental condition, etc. on the property. Third is doing the analysis and preparing the BOV report. Data collecting. When we're doing the valuation for land, the document required is the legal document. First is the land title certificate. Second, if they already obtained the permit to develop, we can ask that also to the property owner. And the third is the property tax receipt. Sometimes we call it NJOP PBB. If they already have plan to develop, we can also ask, do they have a feasibility study or a business plan? For the building information or financial information is when we are doing the valuation of the existing building, the existing property. For example, shopping center, office building, or hotel. Site visit. When we're doing the site visit or virtual site visit, our objective to identify the physical condition, shape, size, elevation, topography, contour, property adjacent. For example, when we see the property elevation or topography, we can estimate how much is the cost to doing the cut and fill, because we will use it when we doing the simulation for the land development approach. We need to observe also the surrounding area and understand the regional regulation. Third one is the existing use. If there's a building on the top of the land and it's not highest and best use, so there will be cost to demolish the building. Third is the land improvement. Is the property already have fences, and what improvement in the land? So we can calculate that also. It will give a different indicative value also. This is the objective when we're doing the site visit for the existing building. And the most important also is to collecting the market comparable. When we're doing a valuation for a vacant land, the big parcel of land, the comparable can be not only just a land for sale, but also the property or residential for sale. So that's why we can go to the marketing officer when there's a development of a residential nearby. So we gathering all the information about the selling price of the houses. Second, we identify the location and the environment. So in our comparable, we need to know what is the best on that area, what is the difference between our subject property and that area. Third is the development quality. If they develop a residential landed house, how is the quality of the development? Third is the local regulation. The valuation approach. There's three common approach used when doing the valuation: the market approach, income approach, and the cost approach. For this training, we'll focus on the income approach. The process to conduct the income approach, we collecting data, doing the analysis, and we came out with the indicative of value. I put three methods how we doing the income approach. If we doing the valuation for a vacant land, we can use the land development approach. So the land development approach or land residual technique is the method based on the concept that the value of a property with development potential is derived from the value of the property after development minus the cost of undertaking that development, including a profit for the developer. So when we using the land development approach, we assume we build something on the top of the land and we sell the property. So for example, we develop a residential houses, so we sell the residential houses, so the gross development value of the property, and we deducted, we minus with the cost to develop the property and also the developer profit, the profit margin that usually developer want. And after that we get the land residual, so that will be the land value. I will explain more detail in my next slide. Third is direct capitalization, is a real estate appraisal method that value property by taking net operating income, the NOI, and dividing it by a predetermined capitalization rate. Third is the discounted cash flow. So the DCF approach is a method of valuing an asset using the concept of the time value of money. It is an explicit approach where all future cash flow are estimated and discounted to their present value. So we're using the discount rate. So the discount rate reflects the time value of money and a risk premium, representing compensation for the risks inherent in future cash flow that are uncertain. I will explain in the next training session. So for today, we'll focus on the land development method. The first step we do is to examining a potential development, is to determine what type of end use will be most suitable for the land. So consultant or broker should examine the site, check the zoning, and try to determine what is the highest and best use of the property. So consultant or broker must decide roughly what the improvement will consist of. Conceptual plan should be drawn and estimate made of the sellable space which will be created. So the first step we're gonna do, if we value the land, we want to know what is the best development for the site. So we're doing the highest and best use analysis. The second step, once the form of improvement has been decided on, with rough estimates of the general size, the value of the property upon completion must be calculated. This value can be found by capitalizing the expected future income stream at the market capitalization rate. So this is when we assume we want to develop for like a hotel, apartment, or the office building. So this amount represents the maximum cash flow which will be received from this project. If the developer purchases the land and undertakes this project, the profit made will depend on how much of this amount is remaining when the project is complete. So the second step is we need to find out the gross development value of the project. Third step is to determine the expense necessary to develop the land into a new end use. Some examples of the costs include construction, real estate commission, architect fee, financing charge, and developer's profit. After computing all of these expenses and subtracting these from the expected income from the property, the remainder is the land residual. So the framework is the gross development value minus the building cost minus the planning cost minus the profit is the land value. So this is an example of vacant land that can be developed as landed house residential. So the development process will be the planning, design, and construction, and this is the condition after the development. So when we're doing the land development approach, we need to find out what is the best use for the land, and we calculate how much the cost to develop. For example, like this is we assume to be developed as a landed residential. So how much is the cost to develop the landed residential houses? And after that, we deduct the potential gross development value with the construction cost and also the developer profit, and we get the value of the land. That's the process. So GDV, gross development value, all the capitalized income received to the development minus the building cost. So some part of the GDV is the total construction cost and the residual value, and after that we minus the planning cost, we minus the profit, and we get the land value. So this is the concept how we're doing the land development approach. So I will pull out on my screen the Excel spreadsheet so we can have some like illustration how we value property using the land development approach. So I will use this as the example. So we are valuing a vacant land, let's say around 2 hectares. So this is the illustration of the subject property. So the first step is we get the information of the property itself. So we put it, this is a property information. So in the property information, we describe the land size, in this example we put 2 hectares, and the zoning, let's say we already checked the zoning, and according to city plan is residential with the coverage ratio in Indonesia called KDB, koefisien dasar bangunan, and we get also also the plot ratio information. For residential, usually like around 1.2, and the green area, let's say, is around 20%. Second is what is the potential development? So we assume that the height and base use of the land is landed house. The development perimeter will be, we need to find out the sellable land area, commonly the sellable land area for landed house is around 60% from the total gross land size. Can be 40%, can be 60%. It depends on regulation, so we need to check what is according to the city planning. So 60% multiplied by 2 hectares, so it's 12,000 square meter. So this is the sellable land area that we can assume will be developed as the houses, residential houses. So the development product will be, example, residential with type 30/60. So 30 is the building area, 60 is the land area. And the next is to find out the price per unit. So next thing we're gonna do is we need to analyze how much is the selling price per unit. To find out the selling price per unit, we need to have a comparable. So our comparable will be residential nearby the subject property. So residential in that area, how much is the selling price per unit? So this is the concept. For the data, we put it residential 1. Let's say we have 4 comparable, and type of building that they sell is, let's say, 30/60, let's say 36/72, and let's say it's the same, 36/72. So this is the building size, the land size. The building is 30, 36, this one is 30, and this one is 36. For the land size, this is 60, 72, 60, and 72. For the price per unit, so let's say we receive the brochure from the marketing, so the selling price per unit is 250 million. This one is 275 million. This one is 240 million. This one is 280 million. And we need to analyze the building costs. Say it's rupiah per square meter. So that's why when we doing the site visit, when we're collecting the market comparable, we need to know the quality of the comparable, the quality of the building. So let's say for residential 1, the cost to build the residential house is 3 million per square meter. For residential 2 is 3.2. Residential 3 is 3 million, and this is for residential 4. After that, we know the total building costs. So just multiply with the building size. So this is the cost. So the land value will be the price per unit deduct by the building cost. Assume there is no discount. And the land value per square meter for ready to build land, we just divide it by the land size. Okay, so when we want to use the assumption how much is the selling price for the property, for the subject property, if we develop a residential housing, we're not doing the average, like for example average of this pricing, because all of the comparable have a different characteristic. So we need to create some scoring to identify how much the selling price for subject property if we develop as residential housing. How we do that is we using the quality rating technique. Quality rating technique. We can give rating from 1 to 5. For example, 1 is poor, 2 is fair, 3 is average, and 4 is good, 5 is excellent. So this is the data. Compare residential 1, 2, 3, and 4. We already know the land value per square meter. So this is the land value per square meter. And we need to put how we do the rating. So we do the rating by location wise, the developer image, the development quality, you can put also the development concept, etc., etc. So I'm only use 4 criteria for this. So let's say the data one, the residential one, the location is good, so we put 4. The developer image, let's say it's good also, so we put 4. And the development quality is excellent, so let's say we put it 5. For the concept is good, we put it 4. And the same also with the other comparable. Let's say put it like this, and the last one, let's say the location is yeah, we just say fair. The developer image is yeah good, is excellent, and the concept is average. So the next step is we need to find out the correlation between the land value and the location, the correlation between the land value and the developer image. So we're doing that by using the Excel formula, correlation, correl. So we put this one and we put this one. I will lock the cell, okay, and we can put it here. Okay, so this will be the total, and we can calculate the percentage. So this is the percentage. I will lock it. Okay, so based on this analysis, we get that the location have the weight 45%, developer image 5%, development quality 14%, and developer concept 37%. So the bigger weight is in location. Yeah, we can say that location is most important and the most have relation with the pricing. So if the location good, the pricing also became more expensive. Okay, so the next step, we want to put the score for the subject property. So we have the parameter. So the parameter is location, is developer image, is development quality, and development concept. For the weight for, let's see, this is the parameter, this is the weight, this is residential 1, residential 2, residential 3, and residential 4, and this is the subject property. Okay, so the weight is 45%, 5%, 14%, 37%. So we're gonna put the scoring. So I just copy this and paste it. Okay, let's see. Residential 1, the location is 4, correct. Developer image is 4, development quality is 5, and developer concept is 4. Okay. So how is the subject property? So let's say the subject property, the location is let's say average, the developer image also average, and the development quality is good, the concept is good. So this is the scoring. Okay, so the next thing is we calculate the weight multiply by the score. Okay, so I will lock this cell, right, and let's try to pull it. Okay, so so the total score for residential 1 is 4.14, and the score for our subject property is 3.5. So what we can see that our subject property is in par with residential 3. The score is almost the same. So the next step is to find out the selling price for the land. So this will be the data. Residential 1, 2, 3, and 4. And this is the price. And we put the score here. And this is the point, and we divide this with this. Okay, because we already do the weighted, so the average will be and the score for subject property. So the land price will be, so this is the price for ready to build land. This is our conclusion. So the development product, we want to build landed house type 3060, right? So 30 is the building size, 60 is the land size. So the construction cost for the landed house, let's say 3 million. The selling price for the landed house, let's say 3 million, and this is the selling price for the land. So selling price per unit is around 245 million per unit. So it's an affordable housing, or we just can round it to make it easy. Okay, so we insert our analysis to here. Okay, so how much unit will be? We know that the sellable land area is, let's see, this one, right? We can move it here, right? So, and the size coupling size. Is 60, right? Let's put it here. And so we can calculate the total unit. Is just divide this with this. So 200 units of residential houses. So okay, we just okay. So we just copy it here, and the next step is to calculate the development cost. So there will be direct costs, there will be direct cost, and there will be indirect costs. So what is the direct cost? We can put the site clearance, we can put like cut and fill, the cost, yeah, everything. This is for the infrastructure, and this is for the building cost. Let's say this is the area, this is the price, and this is the total. So the areas for site clearance, we usually use using the gross land area. For infrastructure cost, we can use the sellable. So we need to have research how much the cost, infrastructure cost per square meter of the sellable. For the building, we can multiply the coupling unit, the total unit, with the building size. So we use 30 for building size, so 6,000 square meter of the building area. So let's say 25,000 rupiah only for site clearance. For infrastructure, let's say around 400,000 rupiah. So in my experience, for affordable housing, the cost for infrastructure can be around 400,000 to 600,000. For subsidized housing will be below 400,000 rupiah per square meter. For like premium housing, it can be like 1.5 million, 2 million. It depends if the residential have like a sport club, so the cost will be different, much higher. So let's say the building cost will be, we put on our assumption the selling price is 3 million. So let's say it's only 80% from the selling price, so 20% is the margin. So we can calculate the total cost. This is the total cost. For indirect costs, we can put the professional fee, for example, architect, the permit cost, and we can also put the contractor profit. Let's say that the percentage will be professional fee 3%, this one is 1.5%, and the contractor is 10%. So we multiply this with this, okay, and we get the total. So the total cost before VAT is this, but we need to add the VAT 10%, right? 3% and we multiply, and this is the total 24 billion. Now is to calculate the land value using the land development approach. So the revenue, let's say it will take 3 years to finish the project. And this is the type of unit. We have 200 units, right? And the selling price is, let's see, 245 per unit. And the escalation per year, so the prices escalate around 10% every year. So the selling price will increase year on the same, but for year second it will be increase okay. This is the selling price after year second, and this one is the third. So let's say in year one they able to sell after obtain the permit, so they have 6 months, and every month they can sell 10 units, so 60 units in year one. For year 2, 12 months, and they can sell 10 units every month, so 120, and this is the remaining. Alright, so after that we calculate the total revenue. We just multiply this to get the total revenue. Next thing is to calculate the operational costs. We put marketing and promotion, we can put administration, we can put legal costs. Let's say that the percentage for marketing is 3%, administration is 1.5%, legal is 1%. So the cost will be this one, we multiply with this, so we lock it, and we also don't forget to lock this one. Okay, so let's check if the cell is correct. Yep. So the total will be, so this is the total of the cost, operational cost. So the gross development value will be this one, deduct by this one, the selling cost. Okay, next is the land value. So the concept is the present value of the GDV. We can use the discount rate, let's say 12.5%. There's a couple methods to find out the discount rate. For property, we can use the band of investment model. So we will discuss about that in our next training. So the discount rate is 12%, 12.5%. So the present value of the GDV will be net present value. We put the rate and we put here. So this is the present value of the GDV, and we already know the development cost. We take it from this one, and last thing is the developer profit. So most of developer, they put like 25 or 30% as the developer profit. It can be higher, so it depends on what the market condition like. So if the most developer using 30%, yeah, we can use that. Okay, so we found that the residual land value, by deducting this, and the land value per square meter with total land area 20,000 is 3.5 billion divided by the land area. So the land price is around 176,000 rupiah per square meter. Okay, so this is the value for this land when we're using the land development approach. Okay guys, if you have any question or comment, feel free to contact me at my cell phone or drop me an email. I will reply my best. Okay, thanks, bye bye.